In this video, I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide on how to drastically raise your credit score in 2025. Whether you are totally new to the credit game or you have damaged your credit through missed payments or collections, consider this your most up-to-date guide for credit building this year. Hey credit warriors, welcome to the show. My name is Ben Hedges, aka the Credit Shifu, and on this channel I cover US credit cards, personal finance, and luxury travel. If you like the sound of that, please subscribe, but let's get into it. Oh, and this video is brought to you by Kickoff, but more on that later. So you want to build credit. Well, the first step in building your credit is to work out where you are right now. To do that, I would recommend first going to annualcreditreport.com. This is a website that gives you a free credit report from each major US credit bureau once every 12 months. Now, make sure you type this URL exactly, okay? Since you're going to be putting your social security number into this site. You don't want to get on some fake scam website. But you know, if you search it on Google, Google's pretty good at getting you the official site as the top result. But anyway, once you've put in all your info, it offers you credit reports from all three bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. You can choose to get only one report now or all three. If you really want a complete picture of your credit profile, you will need all three, since some things could be reported to some bureaus and not others. On the report, you will see all your open accounts, like here you can see my Amex cards and they're all reporting no late payments. Then you have hard inquiries, soft inquiries, and expect there to be a load of soft inquiries. That's normal. These are just companies checking you out. They don't affect your credit score. And basically what you want to do is check that this information is all correct. There's nothing fraudulent, and if there is, you can dispute it and get it removed. On the Experian report, for example, you can start a dispute directly within the report by clicking a button. In addition to mistakes on your report, if there is an account that is reporting late payments or collections, you may want to contact that creditor, or if it's in collections, the collection agency. Normally communicating by letter is recommended, and offer to pay off the account in exchange for them removing the negative mark on your credit report. Going into a lot of detail on credit repair is a bit beyond the scope of this video, but I do have another full video on it. It looks like this. I'll put it on the end screen of this video for you to check out. You can also get the book Your Score, which is a great guide to credit repair, and I'll link to it down below. Now, if you are completely new to the credit game, in theory, your credit report will be very short. We call this a thin file. You may have a few soft inquiries, and that's just companies checking out your info, doesn't affect you at all. So as long as you don't have anything on there that you don't recognize, you're good to move on to the next phase. Oh, and just a little side note, last year there was a big thing about medical debt being removed from credit reports. It kicked in January this year in the last days of the Biden administration, but a federal judge struck that down in July. So if you see medical debt on your report at the moment, it is still allowed to be on there. And if you want to get it removed, you have to go through the normal steps, contacting the creditors, getting confirmation in writing that they will remove it if you pay an agreed amount. Currently, you cannot get it removed just for the fact that it is medical debt. Okay, next we want to find our credit score. The reports from annualcreditreport.com don't give you a credit score. So let's look at how to get that now. So now you want to find out where you are in terms of credit score. There are several sites where you can get your credit score for free and some that you have to pay for. If you want the most accurate credit score, you need to go to myfico.com and get a score that you pay for, because these are the exact same scores that the banks use, and they even give you different scores for different loan types like mortgage, car loan, credit card, etc. MyFICO has 3 levels of membership. If you want scores from all 3 credit bureaus, you need to pay $39 a month, but you can cancel it later on. I would only recommend paying for this if you are in the process of trying to buy a house. You'd want to sign up a few months before and then keep a really good eye on your credit all through the process, because maintaining good credit for closing the deal could save you thousands over the lifetime of your mortgage loan. For just normal life or applying for credit cards or car loans, it's really pointless to pay $39 a month for MyFICO. I recommend just getting a free credit score on creditkarma.com. It gives you 2 scores, one from TransUnion and one from Equifax. These scores are using the Vantage Score 3.0 model, which is an educational credit score model, but it is good enough for all purposes except for preparing a mortgage application. And in case you're wondering, this is my actual credit score. We're around in the 730s. I'll explain why it's not up at the 800 level later in the video. Then for the third credit bureau, Experian, you can check your Experian credit score for free at Experian.com. And this one is actually a FICO 8 score, which is what many banks use. You can see my Experian score comes out a little higher than my other two. All my scores are a little on the low side in my opinion for what I'm used to, and that's just because of a lot of activity on my credit report, hard inquiries, etc. You can see what is considered fair, good, exceptional, etc. on this chart, and I am good on 2 bureaus and very good on Experian. If I was going to get ready to apply for a mortgage, I would want to be closer to exceptional, at least 760 or above. 760 should get you the best rates on any type of loan product, so I'd need to take steps to increase my score, and that is what we'll cover next. But first, if you are trying to build or rebuild your credit, a great service to check out is Kickoff. You can sign up with no credit check, and Kickoff will open a trade line for you, which gets reported to all 3 credit bureaus. But this Kickoff trade line is not for making purchases, it is just for building credit. Now, Kickoff has a small monthly fee with plans starting at $5 per month. But guess what? That gets reported to all 3 credit bureaus for every on-time payment. This increases your overall amount of credit, lowers credit utilization, and helps with the 2 highest impact factors in building credit: amounts owed and payment history. Average users with credit below 600 saw an increase of 25 points in their first month and 84 points in their first year of using Kickoff. Kickoff also has a load of other features, and in some of their higher level plans, they offer rent and bill reporting, which can help build credit with extra on-time payments reported to the credit bureaus. I really wish I had something like Kickoff when I started my credit building journey back in 2016. But luckily for those building credit today, Kickoff does exist, and they are offering my viewers 80% off your first month. That's as low as $1 for your first month with the discount. Click the link in the description down below or go to getkickoff.com/Ben to get the offer. All right, so after you've taken the initial step of checking credit reports, getting inaccuracies removed or getting collections and missed payments removed in exchange for payment, whether you're building credit for the first time or rebuilding your credit after a drop in your score, the strategy for the next part is essentially the same. We will need to look at the 5 factors of credit that affect your FICO score. So the 5 factors are payment history, accounts owed, length of credit history, new credit, and credit mix. When building credit, you want to focus on the 2 highest impact factors first: payment history and amounts owed. So what I generally recommend is going to be to get a couple of basic credit cards first. Think Capital One Platinum or Discover It Cashback card. Both of these cards are easy to get, even for people with thin credit files, and both will let you apply and get a decision with no impact to your credit score. If you have damaged credit or you are a recent immigrant to the US, these are the 2 groups of people that may still get refused these cards. I would suggest to still apply since it's a no-risk application, but if you do get refused, then you can go get a secured version of either of these cards. They both have secured versions where you put down a couple of $100 as a deposit, and then they give you a card with a credit limit equal to that deposit. You then put a couple of purchases on these cards each month and you pay them on time. You will start getting on-time payments reported to your credit report, and this will start building positive payment history, the most important factor of credit. Then at the same time, you should keep your utilization low, i.e. don't put all your spending on these cards. Try to have them at, say, 10% utilization on the day the statement closes. That is what will get reported to the credit bureaus. 10% utilization means that if the credit limit is $200, you have a balance of only $20. You can achieve this by paying the card off several times a month. You don't have to just pay it once a month, okay? With online payment systems and the bank's mobile app, you could pay it every day if you needed to. If you have 2 cards going at once, you should be at a credit score of 700 after about 6 months, if you are starting from a thin credit file. However, if you are recovering from bad credit, then it's going to take longer. You can speed this up though by taking advantage of another credit building tool: authorized user cards. This is where you get added as a user on the credit card account of someone you trust, and their credit info then reports to your credit file. If you are young, you probably want to look to your parents for this. If you're a recent immigrant to the US, maybe a friend or a colleague could add you. They don't need to trust you since they can have the card sent to them and then cut it up as soon as it arrives. You don't need to spend money on their account. You just want that payment history. But you must make sure that the person has no missed payments and they are keeping their credit utilization low, under 30% or ideally under 10%. Also, you can't just get any bank's authorized user card, since not all of them report the whole history. Anthony Davenport, who wrote the book Your Score, recommends Capital One, Discover, Bank of America, or Wells Fargo. With these issuers, they report the whole history to the credit bureaus. So it could look like you have 5, 6, 7 years or more of on-time payments, even though you only just got added as an authorized user. Notably, Amex doesn't give you the full history, and Chase may not either. But there are a lot of data points out there, and it's always constantly changing, so I suggest doing some research on Reddit or the FICO forums to find the most up-to-date data. If you get 4 cards, 2 in your name, whether they're regular or secured, and 2 authorized user cards, and they are all paid on time each month and kept at low utilization, you can expect a 700 credit score after 3 months, if you're starting from scratch. If you are rebuilding credit, then it may take longer depending on what negative information is on your credit report. But this is the fastest way that I know to build credit. You may want to add some other things into the mix, like Kickoff that we mentioned earlier, especially if you can't find a person to add you as an authorized user. Kickoff could be one of those 4 trade lines. Then once you have these 4 cards or 3 cards and 1 Kickoff trade line, and you reach 700, you will be able to apply for basically any credit card out there as long as you have an average income. You can then start getting into allowing other factors of credit to help you. But with the other 3 factors, they really just happen naturally and time plays a big role. So for length of credit history, time has to elapse for that to count. With new credit, that is basically the effect that hard inquiries have on your credit report, these drop your score by a few points, but the hard inquiry will drop off your report after 2 years and then it'll have no effect. And then for credit mix, that's what different types of credit you have on your report. Like if you have credit cards, a car loan, and a mortgage, and they're all in good standing, that will really stabilize your score. I have found it is hard for my score to drop below around 720, even if I report high utilization, due to the fact that I have credit cards, 2 mortgages, and a car loan reporting each month, and I've never had a missed payment. Obviously, I could still screw myself with a missed payment or a collection, so you still need to be careful. Now, if you are already at the mid 700s like me, how do you get to 800? Well, really the key is time and maintaining super low utilization. If you can keep your utilization down at like 5% across 5 or more cards, you will get into the 800 club in a couple of years. But it is slower to go from 700 to 800 than it is from 600 to 700. For me, if I take the initiative to make sure all my cards report super low utilization, I will get to the upper 700s and possibly 800 very quickly. But I'm only going to need to do that next year when I hope to refinance my house if the Fed lowers interest rates. Right now, hanging out in the mid 700s is really no problem for me. All right, guys. That is the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to get 80% off your first month with today's sponsor, Kickoff. Click the link in the description or go to getkickoff.com/Ben to get the offer. Please subscribe to our channel if you're new, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.